Welcome back. This is still Learning Guide 5, Pre-Calculus 12, and we're on topic 3 now. Okay, so we're going to look at some ratios where we're given the diagram below here, and we're going to figure out the sine, the cos, the tan, the cosecant, the secant, and the cotangent. All right, so just remember back to those ratios that we did last class or last section. So let's just remember, because it's good to know these off by heart. Okay, sine we know as O over H. All right, and it's good to write it down every single time so then you get it embedded into your brain. Okay, we know cos as A over H, and we know tan is O over A, and we know cosecant to be the flip of the sine, so that is H over O, and the secant is the flip of the cosecant. And people sometimes ask me, why do I not use 1 over cos and to get the answer? And you can. It's just a bit more work, but it's just easier just to do the ratio of the H over A to get the answer. And cotangent is the flip of tan, which we know as A over O. Okay, so we're going to be using these ratios to solve these pictures down here. Okay, so let's have a look at the first one here. Okay, so we got a diagram. Here is our diagram. So point is right here, and we just label it now. It's nice to see a picture. Remember, A is your X, so it's going horizontally. So I'll label that A. B is your Y, so it's going up and down. And we'll call that B, that side. And there's our theta, that angle right there is theta. Okay, so now we have sine. So if you look up here, sine is O over H. Well, if we look at this, O is the B. All right, and the H. Now what is that H going to be? What is this hypotenuse? Well, if you look back at the instructions of this question, it says unit circle. And remember the last video, the unit circle means this is 1. Okay, so that is going to be 1. So we know our hypotenuse is 1. All right, so if we go to cosine, well, cosine is going to be the A over the H. So the A is A, the adjacent side is A, and the hypotenuse is 1. And if we do the tangent, it's opposite B over A. Oop. Okay, now these reciprocal functions, okay, we know that a cosecant is the flip of sine, so all we do is we flip this, so it becomes 1 over B. Flip this, 1 over A. And the last one, flip that, it's A over B. All right, now, before you say final answer and you move on to the next question, this CAS rule is so important. You've got to always check, because once you leave quadrant 1 here, there's quadrant 1, and you move into 2 or 3 or 4, there's going to be some negatives happening. So we're in quadrant 2, and we know that's the S quadrant, because remember, add sugar to coffee, or all students take calculus, however you remember it. So now we're in the sine quadrant, so these two are definitely positives, so you need to put negatives by all these other ones. So I just put up the numerator. Okay, and now we're good. Okay, the next one. So again, we have a unit circle. So we have to make this into a triangle. All right, and we know this is 4/5. That's your x going horizontally. This is your y, so it's going vertically. That is 3/5. All right, and this is the unit circle 1. And now we need to do all of these all over again. Well, we know this is O over H, so it's good to write it down, because every time you write it down, it helps you embed it into your brain. So the opposite is 3/5. And it's divided by the hypotenuse, which is 1. So what that simplifies to is just 3/5. Okay, because if we have 1 as our denominator, it's not needed, so we got an answer. Okay, I'm just going to go over to the cosecant now. Well, the cosecant, this is going to be a little bit different. Cosecant is going to be the h over the o. Okay, well, the h is 1, right? And the o is 3/5. Now, when you have 1 over 3/5, this flips over. And a good way, because we're going to learn in the next learning guides coming up in Learning Guide 10 and 11, you're going to learn what's called complex fractions. So I'll just show you what a complex fraction is. Okay, so this is complex because in my denominator here, this is my denominator, this guy right here, there's a fraction in the denominator, or if you have a fraction in the numerator, it's called complex. Now how you get rid of a complex fraction is you multiply the bottom part, in this case, by its reciprocal. All right? Because 3 over 5 times 5 over 3, what that equals is 1. Okay? What you do in the bottom, you do to the top. Just like we did in algebra. What you do to the left side of an equation, you do to the right side. Okay, and so now we get 5 over 3 over 1, which we know is 5/3. Okay, so our answer there is 5/3. Okay, so, and we do this one here. Well, this is A over H, so remember A, adjacent, over H. Well, the adjacent is 4/5 over 1, which we don't need, so there's the answer. Now this is going to be 1 over 4/5. And you can do this complex, but it's pretty easy. When you have 4/5 here and it's 1 over that, just flip it, so it becomes 5 over 4. Okay, and the last one here, tan. Well, tan is the opposite, which is 3/5 over the adjacent, which is 4/5. Okay. And now we got some complex fractions going on here. So when you have a complex there and a complex there, well, we're going to multiply this bottom one here. So let's just get a different color. And we are going to multiply it by 5 over 4, because that creates a denominator of 1. Okay, because 4 over 5 times 5 over 4 is 1. Okay, what we do to the bottom, we do to the top. And we can see some canceling out. There's a 5 on the bottom, a 5 on the top. So they cancel each other out. And then we got 3 over 4. And 3 over 4 over 1, we know equals 3 over 4. So there's the tan. Now I'm not even going to write the cot out because we know from the previous slide that if I know tan, which is 3 over 4, cot is just the flip of that. So it's just 4 over 3. I don't need to do a whole bunch of work because it's just the flip. Okay, like I said the last slide, I got to check the cast rule. Well, we're in quadrant 1, so they're all positives. Okay, finding reference angles. Okay, so a reference angle. Let's just review what a reference angle is. In grade 11, you were taught that I'll just draw a little grid here. There's the x and y axis. Now, if you have an angle there, this angle that goes from the terminal arm down to the x-axis, that's called the reference angle. Okay, so just remember, the reference angle is an angle that always comes from 0, or pardon me, from the x-axis to the arm. Okay, so if you had, let's say down here, there's the reference angle, that angle right there. Okay, that's called the reference angle. And how you calculate the reference angle, it's quite straightforward. In quadrant 1, the reference angle always equals theta, the angle given. So if I said, what's the reference angle of 45? You would say 45. Okay, when you're in quadrant 2 over here, and you're trying to find that reference angle, that guy right there, it's going to equal, okay, the reference angle is going to equal 180 okay, subtract theta. Okay, so let's say I gave you 120, which is our theta. The reference angle is going to be 60. Okay, hopefully you can remember that. And in quadrant 3, you're going to go theta subtract 180 to get the answer, the reference angle. Okay, and then the last quadrant, if you're trying to find that reference angle, okay, you get 360 and you subtract it from the theta that's given to you. So if I gave you, say, 300, you go 360, take away 300, which is 60. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing here. Okay, so we have to draw the following in standard position. Okay, standard position is another word used. I generally refer to it as theta. Okay, same thing, you know, theta. Okay, so now where is 300? Well, 300 is down there, 270, somewhere over here. Okay, now the reference angle is that angle there. And remember what I said earlier, in quadrant 4, it's 360. Take away 300. And so the reference angle is 60. Okay?